No, but I think today's a chill episode of Socratic Cinema. I don't think we really need to focus too much on doing that well. Welcome back to Socratic Cinema. My name's Charlie Heatherly.
I'm Haleigh Phillips.
I'm Kasey Clark.
And we're missing an unimportant member of the podcast today, but it's not that big of a deal. He was off doing some bougie thing.
Oh yeah, kayak.
Catalina. Because he's better than all of us. He can't like the movie we're talking about today anyway.
Yeah, so we just kicked him out.
Yeah, no, he's permanently gone forever.
Yeah, he's stuck on Catalina
No more
forever.
James D'Alicio show.
We killed him. I mean, he's just missing currently. No,
that escalated.
He's in apartment B. So
He's in the closet.
He's in Bateman's apartment.
Yeah,
You don't know what happened there. He's what's the line from the movie? Dissolving in a bathtub in Hell's Kitchen.
Yes.
No, but we love you, James. He's just not here for this episode. But for this episode, we did watch American Psycho.
Free.
Fantastic celebration. It's one of, I would say, my favorite movies. I really, really like American Psycho. It's a crazy, crazy film. But the story is, it's so mind-bendingly unrealistically real, almost, that it just like forces you to pay attention. And then God, I always mix his name up. The guy that played Bateman in the movie.
Bale.
Christian Bale. I always confuse his last name with Bate, and then Christopher Nolan. It's just everything. Christopher Bale. Yes. He had a fantastic performance in this movie. I think one of his best ones. Even though every single a movie he's in, he gives a fantastic performance for. But he just showed the descent of a person into madness so beautifully. And the movie itself is so well crafted and points to the evil that lies in our American system of business, and the monotony that we all think office work to be can sometimes hide something truly interesting. But that's just my opinion on the movie. I know that James hated it and didn't like it too much, but what did you guys think about it?
All right, sure. I'll volunteer myself to go first.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really interesting. I agree with all the points you said. It also points out a lot of irony and like consumption. Like even before I watched this movie, we all know the business card scene. You know,
Yes.
the most amazing scene. Like people heard we were doing this movie, and then like my friends were showing me the business card scene. I was like, yes, this scene. It just shows the irony and like consumption and like the madness of it all, but how it's somehow so real and like accepted and devoted to in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting psychological development.
Yeah, I would completely agree. My bad. It was like a crazy movie. I didn't remember some parts of it. Because I don't remember when the last time I had seen it. It was like a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But as Haleigh said, like it does force you to like pay attention, or Charlie, either one of you, as
we're the same person.
Yeah,
at this point.
They're just morphed. It's fine. Like it forces you to pay attention. Like kind of like the trippy, did he actually do this? Did he actually say this? And how it like devolves into conversations to actual actions as he's like going through this humongous psychotic break.
Right,
which
like
is,
the sheets. The one first thing I noticed was he was at the dry cleaner and he had the red sheets, and we were like, did he murder someone? Or what is this? Is it really cranberry juice?
Yeah, it smash cuts to that right after he's walking with the woman and says hi to her on a dark night in New York City, and it's like,
is he gonna murder her? Like, whoa, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, it's such a trippy, like, dreamy movie. Like, I genuinely thought that the scene where the cash register or the giant ATM tells him to feed it a cat, and then everything until right after the helicopter thing was like a dream. But apparently in the movie's logic, some of it was real.
Yeah,
we just saw it through Bateman's eyes, and to see someone look through a world in such a like just evil and deadly way, it was an interesting take to have on something that people will just go out of their way to say is bad. Like, no one really likes Wall Street, right?
Right.
But what this movie does is it sort of cuts to the craziness that the people that actually work and live on Wall Street are going through, and how they're slowly breaking down as a person and morphing into one entity, because I want to go into that later, but just like the whole identity where no one really can remember what Bateman's face looks like exactly, and no one can remember what any of the white stockbrokers' faces look like, because they're all effectively the same person, all trying to be, you know, the model. Ooh, I'm the best stockbroker American with my fancy suit, and I go to all the best restaurants and have the best business card with white in the background and a black font, like just all of that. They're all morphing into one person. And the craziness of not having any individuality is what I think pushed Bateman to the edge to just start murdering people in the way that he did. And then no one cares, which is probably a fate worse than death for him, because it was all a cry for attention, a cry to appear different. But when that doesn't happen, he's not satisfied. So he's caught in this eternal loop. And even his confession, which is the movie, we just consider it a movie. We don't think that it's real. Right?
Right.
So he never gets the satisfaction that he's trying to get from these killings, and it's only making him more depressed and psychotic in the process, which is one of the reasons why I think it's such a lovely, lovely film. It's so amazing. But, sorry, the laptop is gonna explode right now.
Future Charlie, edit this out.
Yeah, if this episode doesn't get published, then we've all died in a freak explosion because my laptop is burst into flames. But, I mean, what were some key themes that you guys saw developed throughout the movie? It could be with Bateman, it could be not with him. I know that the police detective played by, oh God, what's his name? Willem Dafoe. I love him. He's amazing. I know he's a very, very interesting character that is sort of underemphasized in the movie. So he's someone who I think would be very interesting to go into. But, like, any major overarching themes that you guys saw developed pretty wholeheartedly throughout the film?
I would agree with your theme of, like, identity. I had a whole... I took notes. I know.
So professional. Every time we do this.
It's just me.
It is just her. She's the only one that's really prepared for all of this. Everything I say is off the top of my head. Honestly. I need to start getting better at my job.
No, wait, guys, you've been taking notes this whole time. What are you talking about?
Sorry, let me just crack open my...
Oh, no.
Sorry, my tome. I have a tome on this. Yeah. Oodles of information. But yes, go ahead, Kasey.
That, I focused in my notes about, like, identity and erasure, basically.
Ooh.
And Bateman even says to Evelyn in the car that despite how he could do whatever, like, he wants, he's the son of someone high up in the company, that he's just working there even though he hates it to fit in. And that's like the whole, like, his entire arc in the movie. He's doing everything in his day job to, like, try to fit in, and he's trying to get into Dorsia. He's trying to be, like, this thought-provoking person, you know, like when
that Dorsia scene when he was talking about all those things. That was so striking to me. I thought that was wonderful and sort of showed how easy it is to appear intellectual, as we do, while not having much substance to go behind it. I mean, he was just trying to conform to the popular opinion or just on all of those issues. So to see people, like, accept that almost, but begrudgingly, it goes to show how constricted these people that live in this system are. I mean, but yeah, go on. I loved your idea of erasure. I think that's
in erasure, it basically, like, it comes out in a particular example of how, like, as you said, everyone's just the same person. Everyone's getting mistaken for different people. And I really found it interesting how Bateman, he uses it to his advantage. He'll, like, pose as a specific person. And he does things that would ruin their reputation, but when he gets mistaken, it also, like, deeply angers him. It's, like, a very ruinous cycle. He only really, like, accepts the misunderstanding of being recognized as someone else, and he takes it and he just uses it to his advantage, versus when it's not working to his advantage, he he just loses it.
He's sort of a hypocrite in that regard, where
Yes.
he uses the evils of the system that he participates in to his advantage, but I mean, like, as you said, if it's not working to his favor, then he feels like he's been cheated almost. But he's actively participating to make this system keep working and keep going. He's just one cog within the giant machine of whatever company he's working for. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to break free, but he's constricting himself by playing into the detectives, like, oh yeah, no, he saw you off at the casino. You were with him that night, right? And Bateman's like, yes, of course I was. Or when he said that the person that Bateman murdered was just seen in London the other day, but they couldn't confirm it or whatever. He just doesn't understand how to get the attention that he wants. So that's why he goes to such a drastic, over the cliffside sort of solution to his problem of just murdering hookers. Which, I mean, understandable, but
No.
Charlie.
but he is just he doesn't understand valid ways to express himself, and that's why he's just such an evil person and represents the evil system that he's in. But I can understand how, and this is playing devil's advocate for James, an emphasis on the word devil, but it's a movie that's very graphic and sort of ham-fisted in showing you that, where it's like repeated murders, repeated sins, like all this goes over and over and over again. So one could argue it's not nearly subtle enough in trying to get its point across, and it's just far too. It shows too much, in instead of, like, in a good poker game, sort of restricting itself and playing it cool, it just shows all of its cards right off the bat and then dares you to challenge it. So, from my perspective, I love that, because I just think that the movie's put together in such a way where that fantasy works, but to someone like, James, or people that didn't enjoy the movie, I could see how that's irritating almost, where it lacks a lot of subtlety. Although I do still think that it hides a lot without telling you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of substance to it.
Right, and it set up a lot of potential in the scenes, There was always some sort of mystery factor of what was going to happen next. So even though you knew what was happening, what happens next was still left in question.
Yeah.
Well, and the other question is, are there any morally good characters in this entire movie?
The receptionist. Depending on depending on what happens after she goes through his, journal thing. Since now she knows. And I do believe that Willem, I don't remember his character's name, that Willem also knew. Yeah.
He's just Willem Dafoe. He plays himself in every movie.
In every single movie. I think he also figured it out, just because it doesn't make sense for him not to. You know, how shifty Bateman gets every single interaction that they have, and even over the lunch, when he reveals that, he actually knows where he's been, and it's kind of suspicious that that Bateman doesn't even know where he is. So I feel like those are the two, that doesn't, Willem's not doing his job, but
I think he's trying to screw with Bateman for a lot of the movie. He's trying to get Bateman to crack, but even when Bateman cracks, no one takes notice. So you're right, he's not doing his job. What Willem, we're just going to call him Willem from now on, I don't care. What Willem does is he has this goal that he set up for himself to get Bateman to confess, but then even when Bateman confesses, no one can find the confession, or no one believes it, right?
Right.
There's no accountability for his problems. And maybe the movie's saying something about how there's no accountability for the people that economically control, one of the biggest countries in the world, right?
Yeah.
But, I don't nearly have the intelligence or research necessary to back that up with any credible evidence. But, yeah, I mean, as you were saying, the receptionist, she's probably the morally best character, or, purest character in the movie, but even then, she did look through his stuff without his permission, so,
that's true. So,
just saying. Life, liberty, and property. She doesn't believe in the property part. She's not Lockean, but
dang.
it's a movie about sin at the heart of it, but it very much focuses on like two sins, and that's like wrath and lust.
Yeah.
Maybe, oh god, we always try to apply the 7 sins thing because it's so blatant. Maybe you can make an argument for gluttony with Dorcia and how they're always trying to go to cool restaurants. Envy, maybe everyone's envious of one another in the movie. I don't know the 7 sins. Who? I'm sure there's some theory out there for it. Sloth. Any of them lazy? They're all fairly. They don't do a whole lot besides sit down, smoke cigars, and eat food. Maybe there's that. I'm just trying to remember the characters in the Shazam movie that he had to fight.
Honestly.
It's a movie that focuses very heavily on sin, and if we're going to judge it by how well it portrays that in a realistic manner, then I think it does fairly well. Although these things that he does are grotesque and unseemly, they're things that, you know, happen. Like, murder happens, all that weird drugging and sex happens. Like, these are problems that do happen, that movies don't really show that often, and perhaps by showing it in such a blatant manner and not questioning very much, it's releasing the taboo on talking about that stuff, and it's getting audiences to finally consider, like, oh, you know, maybe this is bad, or this is good, and we should treat this problem this way, or whatever. Not to say that American Psycho is trying to push a positive political message like that, but...
Kill hookers.
Yes. Yeah, that's just going to be Trump's 2020 election thing. I saw American Psycho.
Oh, God.
Bateman, very good guy.
Oh, my God.
Loaned him money. Very good guy. Fantastic.
He thinks he's a real person the whole time. Oh, yeah.
You thought that about... Well,
It's like, I worked with him.
Yeah.
He confuses... Sorry to get political, but, you know. He confuses... a lot of people that do think... He thought Frederick Douglass was possibly alive still.
Yeah.
No, I just love some of the mistakes he makes. We could go into that topic sometime else.
Do you guys want to hear Socratic what? Socratic political?
Socratic
politics?
Socratic politics. And we're going to have Wolf Blitzer on the show. All of the guys with funny names in politics.
Oh my God.
I wish I could think of more, but yeah, Wolf Blitzer. I just like names that start with animals.
Blitzer.
Yeah, so like and subscribe if you want to see that next.
No, but weird side tangent over. What'd you guys think about I think lighting and cinematography are two choices that go directly into making him seem crazier than could be achieved without making smart decisions about that. So what'd you guys think of, like, let's take the scene where, I forgot her name, but the hooker that he invites over twice, and the second time he drops the chainsaw on her head.
Christy.
Christy.
Her name was not Christy, but he forced her to respond to Christy.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll call her Christy then. So what'd you guys think about the chase scene with Christy at the end and the choices that were made cinematically with that, and how they sort of affected the message at that point in the film?
I really enjoy the lighting of every time we're in his apartment. It's very cold, it's very bright, and it's just unwarm. It's kind of like alienating, the lighting in that situation. But I remember when I was watching it, and he drops the chainsaw at the end. I was like,
crazy.
Oh, he got her?
I know.
I was like, wait, you don't expect it. The way like the camera's moving and the way like he drops it, the way it matched up didn't seem like he actually got her, but it surprised me almost.
Yeah, what a shot. Man should, like, he should get into some Olympic sport for, like, accuracy or, like, archery or something like that. He's really good at...
Shuffleboard.
Could you imagine Bateman as a shuffleboarder? He's got, like, nice little shorts on and a Hawaiian shirt.
Stabbing people and, like, they're on off time.
I need to knock the other person's puck off the board in order to win. Subtle. With my stroke of the whatever you hit a shuffleboard thing with. The sticky thing with the weird hook.
You.
He doesn't know the name of it.
He doesn't know.
Can we write a fan fiction about Bateman where he's a shuffleboarder?
Yes.
And then turn it into a movie?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Please
support
comment
that.
down in the...
For the remainder of this review, I will talk like Bateman.
Oh gosh. Click away before it's too late.
It's so easy to do. No, I wonder what Christian Bale did to get into this role, because he's like a crazy method actor, right?
Yeah.
So like, maybe he actually did kill hookers on the streets to figure out what it was like. I wouldn't put it past him, personally speaking.
It's like a camcorder, like, what do you think?
Guys, I did some research, and they're like, oh my god.
Sign him. Send him the check.
He's perfect.
He's perfect.
Who directed the
my
movie,
God.
by the way? I'm curious.
Oh.
Oh, did you have it, or do you want me to search it up?
I was talking to my dad about it, but I don't remember because it's based off of a book,
Yeah.
Yes.
and the book's
I want to read the
also
book.
insane.
Okay, wait. I'm doing some professional research. I still can't believe Jared Leto's in the movie. I can't place his face. I don't know which one's Jared Leto, but he's
What?
in the
Paul
movie.
Allen.
In the movie?
Yeah.
Is he
he's
Paul
the one.
Allen?
Yes, he's Paul
He
Allen.
I can't place his face.
Yeah.
No way.
I was like,
Whoa.
I was like, rip Jared Leto when he just, he took his head clean off, dude.
Wait. This might be very interesting.
What?
Whoa, it was directed by a woman named Mary Harron.
Wow, yes!
Yeah,
That's
there we go.
interesting.
That's really interesting because that adds a layer of like what was going through her head as she was making this, because those are some pretty graphic scenes for a woman to watch, but like and a man to watch, but it must be especially uncomfortable when the women are the ones that are getting murdered, right?
Right. There's usually there's this big divide in Hollywood where it's like, oh, women nudity is more prevalent than male nudity, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see that come from a woman director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's the one that got Christian Bale naked for a lot of it.
Heck yeah.
She's the one that wanted to extend that routine. Where he puts on the face mask and peels it off after 11 minutes or whatever the dumb thing was. I need to honestly sort of follow that routine though. Like no joke, American Psycho teaching me things, because I just wash my face with water, so
Not even soap.
you're supposed to?
Anyways. So
Apparently that's the most
moving
evil
along.
thing about this whole movie. He could do
my
1,000 crunch. I wouldn't put it past Bale either to do 1,000 crunches in a row. Those are some pretty crazy
Comic-Con.
crunches as well.
Next
Comic-Con
time we see
just
it, just
exhibits.
like, do it.
Yeah. He's on a panel and they're like, hey, can you just do 1,000 crunches for me real quick? And he's like, yeah, sure.
Of
just
course.
like strips off and then starts doing it on the stage.
Yes.
30 minutes later, he's done.
Would pay to see that.
You would... Moving on.
I would money.
No, but he's very... and perhaps this is a little bit of a rated R subject. So if you're... I don't know what the ages are. Who cares? You're here already. You're watching a movie review about American Psycho. You knew what you were getting into. But maybe there's some sort of message to how exposed he is throughout a lot of the film.
Oh yeah, his ass is just out.
It's out there. It's prevalent.
Yes.
It's bouncy. It's
firm.
It's firm. We did cinematic reviews on feet in Tarantino movies. We can pull something out of Bale's buttocks in American Psycho. But no, there has to be something to how exposed everyone is in the movie. And maybe this is just, doing that thing in a video essay where you find a word that vaguely sounds, intelligent. Everyone is exposed. Therefore, the movie is exposing the nature, that sort of thing. But it's a raw movie, and maybe having Bale be exposed in the way that he is, or naked, as the kids would say, shows some sort of just attention to detail when it comes to the themes they're trying to portray. You guys are laughing at me so much. It was a joke. It was meant to be funny. No.
No. Maybe just a little bit.
What do you mean just a little bit? You two are still laughing about it. I can't believe this. This happens all the time.
Yeah, it does.
I make jokes and they start laughing for like minutes on end and they're like, you're not funny. They're laughing at me. It's a hostile relationship we live in.
Yeah.
There's no James to back me up. Well, I guess James would be with you guys.
He'd start laughing.
He would have stopped me before I said anything this review, I think.
No, you'd be like...
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
Alfred. It's a casual one.
We just need to start including Alfred in the podcast.
Yeah.
He has so much to say all the time.
It's like having lens flares in movies. Like, it's the raw reality.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to edit the video and say it's for the raw reality.
Oh my.
No.
We just start off the way we started off.
It's a statement. It's a
statement. We're unpolished. We're raw. Season 2. Socratic Cinema.
Are we really on season? We didn't have seasons, did we?
Did
guess.
we?
I don't know. James just sort of started saying there was a season.
And we're like, oh,
Like, we
alright.
took a break, and
Let's
he's
just
like,
gossip about him while he's not here.
yes. Secret
See his
James gossip.
stupid
Okay, guys.
shorts.
So you made it to the part where we talking about James and all the
Yeah,
tea?
usually our audience retention doesn't go this far, so,
Yeah.
25
Yeah.
minutes in.
No, it's-
We're all doing this.
Yep.
But aside from all the jokes, is there anything else that you guys explicitly want to talk about for American Psycho? Or maybe we can turn this into like a hybrid episode where we start talking about news of other movies. This is experimental Socratic Cinema right now. Possibly, if you guys are willing to take a risk and jump there, we could do that. Because if we want to talk about how psychos are portrayed on the big screen, then we could say a little thing about Joker. But I do know that you have notes on this, or is there anything in your notes that's leaping out at you that you want to say?
leaping out at you. Yes.
Leaping.
Jumping! It's attacking you.
Oh, I had a note about the hookers.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm listening.
Okay. Oh God. Okay. I noted how he dressed them. So he dresses the low class hooker in white, and he dresses the high class like escort in black, and I just thought that was very like interesting.
That's what you were paying attention to in that scene. Okay.
Amen.
Well, no, that's interesting. So why would he? So white is a signifier, or at least in my mind, of purity
Yeah.
or something. Because isn't that what women wear at weddings, and that's the point of it, right?
Yeah. He did kind of put her. Oh, like if you look at the lingerie that she's wearing like the same like type of like nightgown that the other girl that's addicted to lithium is also like doing. And just to go a little CSI real quick. Usually so
She cracked her knuckles as she did that.
aha.
She put on a fedora and like some
Yes.
sunglasses. She's got a
all
boombox
of a
with the
sudden-
music in the background ready to play.
Just noir settings.
Yeah. It's all black and white in here
It's
now.
all black and white. So murderers that they murder surrogates of people that they would like to kill.
Really?
Yeah. So they basically
Whoa.
like in their like escalation, so they'll start off with people that resemble a certain person that like they have resent for. Like that's why Ted Bundy's like all the ladies that he killed reminded him of, like looked like his wife, but usually they never
Kill that girl.
yeah, or they're
Or
working
that
up
person.
to get
I see.
to get to that point where they can kill them.
I gotta kill enough blondes to kill this blonde. Like,
Yeah. And
that's
so
weird. That's a
yeah.
fact, really.
Wow.
It's crazy. This is what you learn when you watch Criminal Minds and Forensic Files all the time.
Okay. Yeah, no, go on.
And so I feel like there's a lot of like surrogates in the movie for either like it kind of represents like the two parts of his life. You know, like you have Evelyn over here who's like his upper class, you know, like he's like basically just like candy to like put on her arm, like on his arm. Like he doesn't like he knows Evelyn's cheating on him, but because he's also cheating, like he doesn't care. And speaking of cheating, we also have the other blonde in his life, which is like the drug addict who's talking to the closeted homosexual who also came onto him, which is also a very interesting scene. I haven't really been able to like pinpoint what like necessarily like what the point of that scene was. I know it's there, but I can't figure it out.
It's there for
yet.
a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's something like it's again, it's people have individuality within their lives, but they have to conform to a certain standard to fit into this society. Or maybe it's not, and it's just a movie about killing
homophobia.
people. I don't know. I don't know anymore.
But yeah, and so I just found it interesting, especially when he's in the car driving Christy to his apartment, calling the escort, like vehemently asking for her to be blonde. And then when he first when she walks in, and he's like, "You're not a real blonde, are you?" And she doesn't like say anything. And so I just feel like that's like he's really just trying to project that like fantasy, you know, and it's just it's crazy.
Damn.
Every time we do this podcast, I'm so impressed by the intelligence of my co-host, because I would have never in a million years thought that's why he said that. That's so awesome. Wow, my world has been rocked. It's been turned upside down. Maybe this is why we should do research for these.
Whoa.
I should take notes.
Crazy.
It's a lot of work. I get by on charisma and charm, not knowledge. Why would that? No, but that's such an interesting point where he's trying to work his way up to that, and that's why he has this pattern. That's crazy. Could you apply that to like the Paul Allen situation? Like, why would he kill Paul Allen? Well, so what's his motivation there specifically?
I think like the motivation kind of lies in that whole like comparison monologue, because comparison is also a huge like theme in the movie, where he even goes in a detail to describe like we go to the same barbershop, but my haircut's slightly better than his, and he has the same taste in suits, and his tie whack, you know, like
even though it's nearly identical the entire time.
And just like how they're basically, as you said, like they're the same person and everyone keeps getting mixed up, but the fact that he can get, like, he's just arguably better than him because everyone's enamored with how he can get Dorsia reservations, which also goes into like the consumerism, which is also a big thing. It's like, how dare you, how the audacity to be better than me and have the same haircut.
The audacity to be better than me. No, that's a great point, because it goes into, to achieve individuality in these guys' eyes, you need to ultimately conform. You need to get to the highest standard of conformity that you can, and that's by getting all the fancy restaurants, doing all the fancy things, by living up to this, you know, godlike status of influence that these people wanted to reach. You've somehow become better than them.
Yeah.
And it's like, how have you become better by disregarding who you are as a person to find that point, to become another guy?
Could you go on with Kasey's trail of like killing the surrogate and be like, oh, by killing Paul Allen, he was trying to kill himself and his personal...
Maybe. Oh, snap.
Yeah.
He just represents what he hates and what he can't escape, so he just cleaves it in the head.
Do you like Huey Lewis in the news?
It's hip to be square.
Those are some of my favorite scenes where he just starts recounting.
Yes.
Hey, Paul! Ah! So great. So absolutely fantastic. But no, that's a great point where his whole goal is to kill him. It's to get someone to like give him retribution, to like put him somewhere where he can no longer do these things and be recognized for the horrible things he's done.
Yeah.
He's so deeply depressed that he's taking it out on others. And no, you're totally right. Maybe he's working up to kill himself by killing all these people around him that are basically himself.
And that's what he tries to when he takes all of the like pills and he's just out of it on the phone, calling the receptionist like, oh, Jean, calling Jean. But also, like, if you look like on that on that topic, when you go back to the like opening monologue where he's talking about like, I am not a person, I'm an entity, like he's completely like relinquished everything that's made him human. Like, he doesn't believe that he's a human, he just lives among them, you know. And that's also like crazy.
It's like, whoa, no, I'm not a human, or what was the quote in the mirror? What you see is Patrick Bateman, but he's not underneath, or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
That's really spooky. And so what is underneath then? Like, is nothing underneath? Is nothing what's talking to us and guiding us through this movie? Like, what primeval force is guiding him to do these things? And it's just such a... I'm sure a psychiatrist would love this movie.
Yeah.
Because it just goes into like some really deep and complex psychological topics. But like, what is Bateman? not who is Bateman, like what is he? Why is he doing these things? What has motivated him to the point where this can happen? Right? Is it because he's drowning in an ocean and no one can hear him, or he's screaming out to space but there's no sound? Like what's happening? He's stuck in this constant vortex where he's swirling deeper and deeper and deeper into insanity, but he doesn't have the strength within himself to swim out and become a better person, because he keeps giving in to his vices, and there's no one that is strong enough to help him. Like, even the best characters in our movie, like Jean the receptionist, will go to his house and not really do much in the way of helping him. No one has come to his aid. Everyone's so focused on themselves that they can't give a part of themselves to other people and find that selfless action.
Yeah.
So, maybe there's something there, or maybe I'm going crazy like Bateman. But personally, I think this movie's deeper than it lets on.
Yeah.
It's very up in your face, and it might seem cut and dry what it's all about, but there's something that's hiding under that's not. It's not said, and I don't think anyone knows exactly what it is. It's sort of this intangible feeling almost, and maybe that's one of the movie's strongest points, is that it just gives you this feeling throughout where you're like, what am I watching? Like, this is horrible, but not the quality of the movie, but just like everything that's going on in it is it's unsettling.
Yes.
It really is a horror movie, even though it's not scary. It's like, maybe it's trying to show this is the depths that that selfish people can go to, and that if we don't help others, this is what inevitably is going to happen. We're all going to become Bateman. We're all going to lose our identity, and we're all going to keep working towards something that we can never achieve, only to become one person together.
Yeah.
Communism, baby.
Which is interesting. It's like the like same with the book and the movie. It's like, if you can get past like the blatant like sex and the violence, like what to like find what is like underneath, like the meat that's under there.
Yeah.
And like it's kind of how it is with people too. Like when you look at like all the Wall Street guys, like they look like the same people, but underneath, like, they all have dirty laundry, they all have like this, that, and the other. And I don't know, I found it like very, very interesting, like the depth,
the richness,
the
palpable
richness.
No, but it's so true. I think that's probably the best part of the movie for me, is it's like, you can go off on these, incredibly, thorough tangents about things, but at the end of it, you're like, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what does the movie mean? And it means something to everyone that watches it, and it's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's like a self-reflection prompt, almost.
It's forcing you to look within and be like, what did I see? And maybe the people that didn't like it either didn't want to look within themselves, or just
James.
No, or just like took it at face value. And I think that's a valid way to take it, but I also think if you're willing to think about it a little bit more and not be so focused on proving yourself right and just accepting what you find in the movie and yourself, I think that's what the movie does best.
Yeah.
Is it makes you contemplate, and it makes you think. So good job on you, director, whose name wait, let me get it real quick. Good job on you, Mary Harron.
There we go. Woman
Fantastic job.
representation.
Yes. I would never in a million years have guessed this was directed by a woman. It's just so male fantasy that.
Yeah.
I was like,
good versatility.
Yeah, jeez. Right? What other movies did she do? She had some on her Wikipedia page. She's a Canadian filmmaker known for writing and directing several independent films.
Oh, yes.
American Psycho was independent. Whoa. What? Well, she co-wrote American Psycho, and then she also directed the notorious Betty Page, which I have never heard about.
Ooh.
She's an upcoming movie called Dollyland. Salvador Dali. Might have to watch that, because that American Psycho was a good movie.
Like Dolly Parton.
No.
Okay.
D-A-L-I.
Oh.
Dollyland.
Oh,
Ah.
I see.
No,
So-
she's disappointed, guys.
It's all over. American Psycho's a bad movie now. But wow, what a lovely experimental episode we've had of Socratic Cinema. That was deeply psychological and tangential and unique in its own way.
Yeah.
And now, if it is a true American Psycho movie, I say we all go to Dorsia and then afterwards kill a hooker.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. All right, well,
On the next episode.
on the next episode of Socratic Cinema, tell us first tell us if you like this style of episode where it's much more casual than our other ones, where it's not like we've stretched a video essay out for 40 minutes, but instead we're just sort of talking whatever comes to our mind. Like a normal conversation almost. Less structured than some other ones. But tell us if you like that. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We don't really post on Twitter, but our Instagram is poppin'. Indeed. Socratic_cinema is that what it is on Instagram? Yeah, so check us out there for some behind-the-scenes footage and notifications on when our videos are coming out. We're on Anchor, so we're on all these different sites, from Spotify, iTunes, we're on YouTube as well. Anywhere where good podcasts are found or where we're found, that's the best way to put it, because everyone that says that has no idea where their podcast is. And
Heck yeah.
I can attest to that fact. But yeah, tell us what movies to watch next. Make sure to like and comment, the whole 9 yards, subscribe if you really did enjoy. But we really do appreciate feedback the most above anything else. So comments are our favorite. What movie do you want us to do next? We're thinking maybe It Chapter 2 once everyone has seen it.
Oh, my bad.
Or my dad had some suggestion. He still wants us to do Big Lebowski, but something like that.
And we're kind of eased into Halloween. We did American Psycho.
Oh,
maybe
Hocus
It.
Pocus.
Yo.
We gotta do some scary ones.
Yeah.
Because you're a virgin. That's my
Is that like a
favorite
Disney
part.
Channel movie? I'm not.
You've never seen Hocus Pocus?
Charlie hasn't seen a lot of culture.
Oh my
really.
god.
Oh, you're the one to talk. No, I don't know.
We don't see movies. That's what.
It's our job. We don't do it.
We don't do it.
If I haven't heard of it, it's trash. But I'm sure Hocus Pocus is
It's
a
solid
decent film. Most certainly a movie. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We've been Socratic Cinema, and we're out.
Adios.
Peace.
Adios.